Everything you need is in Taiwan. And if it's not in Taiwan, you don't need it. There was something going on at the temple this morning. Food and music. An old lady grabbed my arm and told me to get something to eat in gestures. There's always something going on in Taiwan, and a lot of the time I have no idea why, where, when, or what. That's what makes it fun. If I had a bucket list, and I don't, but if I had a bucket list, traveling through time would be on it. I mean, there are places I'd like to visit, like Japan. I'd actually like to go back to the Philippines. I haven't been there for 30 years. And there's other places I'd like to visit too. But time travel, let me explain that to you. Keeping a vlog like this is like time travel, because you can go back and see who you were a month ago, 3 years ago. And that's very enlightening. It's a little bit humbling and embarrassing as well. This isn't a very Christian or Buddhist or Taoist idea, but I'm going to say it anyway. There should be a holiday every year to remember the people that you hate. And the reason there should be a holiday for that is that you can think about them and think about what you learned by dealing with them. And at the end of the day, you can have a beer and drink to their memory and be thankful that they're no longer with you. Okay, I'm going to start the video here. Golden Lion Lake, Jingshi Hu. I'm at a place today I've never been before, and the reason I'm here is because I've never been here before. It's fun to explore places you've never been. And I rode the bus to get here, bus number 72. It took about 40 minutes, and it was a very uneventful ride. I looked out the window, and I got off at the last stop. I didn't get off at the last stop because it was the last stop. I got off at the last stop because I was coming here. And the weather's turned very warm already. Last night it cooled down to 23. That's what it cooled down to. You get used to having this sheen of perspiration on you. And a lot of people find it uncomfortable, but I like it. I like the way it makes my skin feel so moist. Look at the tongue on that guy. Holy smokes. It was recently the anniversary, the 5-year anniversary of COVID and the initial lockdown. And if you've been paying attention to the news, and I have, which I don't really like to do, there's a lot going on in the world again now, 5 years later. And I guess with these two thoughts, it really comes down to a fact that we have to admit to ourselves, and that is that society is a very fragile thing, and it can change with the blink of an eye. It's a new reality. We are living through history. The The truth of the matter is, the reason I'm here today in Golden Lion Lake is because if you don't have a plan, you become part of someone else's plan. And that's normally not a good thing. However, sometimes it's just good to go with the flow. Essentially, all rules can be broken. Because nothing is that important that you can't be a little bit flexible. So you never know what you're going to happen upon in Taiwan when you're just out for a simple adventure. But today, case in point, the Lion Lake Butterfly Garden. One of my friends told me that Taiwan was famous for butterflies. Butterfly Island. Let's see if I can show you some here. One thing about living in Taiwan is you get down to kind of a base level of life. You really learn what's essential. And as I've been here for so long now, as my Canadian life fades into foggy memory, I find what's essential is good night's sleep, good food, do something creative, have time for yourself without any real input. Like take a walk without listening to a podcast or music. You know, my thoughts are really scattered because I haven't really been thinking about making videos. You go through different phases when you come to live in a different country. And, you know, the first oh wow phase wore off a long time ago. And at this point, I've got into certain routines with my life here in Taiwan. And I'm just enjoying living here. Just enjoying my day-to-day life here. And nothing is very, nothing is overly interesting because I've adapted to my life here. I was talking to a subscriber about a month ago, maybe longer now, and he was talking about how he enjoyed when I used to make fun of the English signs. And I'd forgotten I even did that. And I went back and I looked at the video. I think it might have been season 3 or 2. And I think this is probably a good reason to make videos, is because it shows you your own growth, how you've adapted, how you've changed. Because when you come live in a foreign country, it is going to change you. But it makes making videos harder because now all the stuff that I once thought was really awesome, now I take for granted. Now, don't get me wrong, I still enjoy all these things. I just don't think they're worthy of making videos about anymore. I like hanging around the harbor, but I don't really do that many videos of boats anymore. And I like hiking in the mountains. But I know Shoshan so well now that it's basically just something to do and some exercise for me. And it's not worthy of making a video about. And I think that's where the dilemma lies with YouTubers who live in one country, is after a while, although it's still fabulous living in Taiwan, nothing seems as unusual and exotic as it did 4 or 5 months ago. So I've been measuring my time not in days or even weeks, and in some ways not even months. I've been measuring my time lately in years, as in last year at this time I was doing this. Last year at this time I was retiring. I decided that I pretty much had enough, and I think I retired in March. I actually retired earlier, I just didn't know it yet. Or I retired later, and it just took a bit of time to get through the momentum. But the point is, a lot of people measure their time in weeks. It's like, this week I'm going to do that, next week I'm going to do that. It's March break, so I'm going to take a trip to Punta Cana. I don't know where. But I've been measuring my time more in months. And I have to say, I've never, since I left Taiwan in the year 2000, I've never been in Taiwan in March and April before. I always tend to leave sometime during February. And it's interesting because the winter was fairly short and the weather heated up, and I know what summer might be like now, and I like it. I'm not complaining, I actually like it. I like the heat. It's just a different experience. It's real Taiwan. It's real Kaohsiung instead of winter Kaohsiung. So in life, you're either moving towards something or you're moving away from something, and often you're doing both. So you have to ask yourself, what am I moving away from? What am I moving towards? You should focus on what you're moving towards. But nature always finds a balance, an equilibrium. And you're always in the midst of things, in the midst of change. Although things seem very stable and steady, things are changing all around you all the time. And it's your job to make sure you have some control about how you fit into the big picture. It's all about choice. It's your choice.